If you experience frequent, reoccurring, or chronic pain, then you understand how pain can get in the way of living your life. It's why Dr. Goswami started California Pain Consultants to help patients with innovative breakthroughs for pain so they can start living again. I'm here now with Dr. Goswami at your practice, California Pain Consultants. First, I want to start off with what exactly is a pain management doctor?
That's a great question. That's a complicated question as well. But you know, a interventional pain medicine physician is a doctor that bridges the gap between primary care and our surgical specialists.
Okay. And so when we talk about pain, what is it specifically that we're talking about? Because I feel like it could mean many, many things.
Yes. So that's the biggest question, is how do you define chronic pain, right? The International Society on Pain Medicine defines chronic pain as a unpleasant sensory or emotional experience that occurs with either potential or actual tissue damage.
Okay.
And so, you know, this is the whole thing, is that chronic pain is such that it's a emotional or sensory experience that may or may not have any real pathology. And that's where the problem becomes real. And that's why looking at the physical aspects of pain is just one part of what patients are going through. And so exploring further and looking at the behavioral aspects, the psychosocial aspects of pain, and having a practice that has a multimodal dimension to it can really help tailor patients' pain needs.
Right, because pain is something that we experience in the body, but in the brain.
Correct.
more specifically.
Correct.
So why did you become an interventional pain physician?
I felt as though that there was a strong need for a interventional pain doctor in town that has a different take on what interventional pain medicine really is. You know, the problem begins by calling ourselves pain physicians. And so, you know, patients have different connotations of what this experience is going to be. Some people say, you know, I don't want to go to see a pain doctor. I don't want to get opioid pain medication. I'd rather not, you know, which is the furthest from the truth. And other patients are sent to us because, you know, sometimes primary care doctors are tired of giving out pain medication, and they say, just go to your pain physician and you can get medication from them. But, you know, having gone through pain medicine fellowship, I never once prescribed opioid pain pills to anyone. And so that's the problem. And so to try to come to terms with that and to explain and educate patients on what pain really is, I think that's the biggest goal with my practice.
I think that is a misconception that people have, is that that's how you deal with pain with a pill. How do you balance, how do you educate your patients on what therapies and therapeutics there are to deal with pain?
Yeah, you know, we tell these patients that, you know, the answer probably doesn't lie on the bottom of a pill bottle. You know, nor does the answer lie at the end of a needle or at the end of a scalpel either. And so, you know, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity, as we all know. And so it's done very carefully, and it's done through compassion, and it's done like this. You know, whenever I see my patients, I take the time to sit down, whether it's the first one or the 40th one of the day. I take a deep breath and I say to them, how can I help you? You know, I think that today a lot of physicians don't have time to do that. With the healthcare system the way it is, with insurances, with the electronic medical record systems, there's a lot of pressure put on providers to just get things done. And so I think it's a really refreshing experience, and so I try to create a safe place for my patients, for them to open up and be able to say what's beneath the surface. And when I do that, and when I ask open-ended questions, all of a sudden, sometimes you see tears falling down and rolling off of their cheeks. And that's when you know that you're actually able to get through to them and actually able to understand what's going on. And letting them continue the conversation, they actually give you the answers as to what's happening in their lives. And so that's where a strong bond and a trust develops between a patient and a physician. And that's where we can come up with a proper goal in order to move forward and take the appropriate steps to help get them the care and the treatment plan that they need.
And it's probably so important to Because when you're treating a patient, you are not just treating the symptom or the problem, but you have to treat the patient as a whole. And sometimes if doctors don't have time to ask questions about their home life or about what's happening, you might miss out on what is actually causing the problem. So it is probably so refreshing to have a doctor who sits down with you, gives you the time, and actually makes the patient feel like they're part of the process and they're part of their medical decisions. So for people who might be experiencing chronic pain, they might have a loved one who's experiencing chronic pain and who is just stuck in this cycle of, this is how I have to live my life. How do they come see you? How do they become patients here?
Yeah, so usually patients are referred from their primary care doctor or referral source, and depending on your insurance, we take all insurances, including Medicare. We take private insurances, we take workman's comp insurances as well. And so the best way is to get a referral, just to make sure that we're able to see the patient and then go from there.
Okay, so patients need to remember the California Pain Consultants, or remember Dr. Goswami when they talk to their primary care physician or when they talk to their surgeon, so that you can get a referral and start living your life. Again, Dr. Goswami, thank you so much for inviting us out here.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure being here.